remaining on the optimistic side of things. That's where we sit right now, heading into those overnight hours. I'm meteorologist Gabe Maynor, and welcome into Mississippi Live Weather at 10. Our first headline, of course, showcases where we expect that peak potential to be. And that's that tornado watch that is currently 2 hours south in Mississippi, and of course, there in Louisiana as well. And we'll track that out in just a moment of where we expect that watch to continue. I know a few folks asking earlier on this evening, will there be a watch up here? I can confidently say that there will not be a watch up here. Not saying the tornado potential is zero, but it's a non-zero threat, meaning it's not overly high. I'm jumping the gun on this. We'll get to that here in just a moment. Let's track out that next headline, limited severe potential overnight. And that's continuing with that tornado threat, but that's also continuing with that gusty wind and heavy rainfall threat as well. Assessing all of those in just a moment here in the Room to Room Weather Center. But as we look towards next week, we have a great forecast to look forward to. Definitely all smiles for me, because a much colder forecast is expected as we get into that extended pattern talking into next week. So there is some light at the end of the tunnel, and that's coming up quickly, and that light continues to expand because that tunnel is almost over. The first 12, as you can see, 80% chance there by 11. Yeah, those widespread showers and storms expected to continue. And as we work our way overnight and for the start of our Saturday morning, you can see those chances still remain in place, but as we go about the day, those chances dissipating out. We're going to be in a much calmer pattern beyond our Saturday chances, and then really into our Sunday, really into next week. Guys, this is going to be a great forecast. You definitely need to get out there and enjoy. But where we sit right now, we're not going to jump ahead of anything. We're going to take it hour by hour and what risk we need to expect. As I mentioned in the headline, we're talking timing and impacts right now here on Mississippi Live Weather at 10. So where things currently sit, that tornado watch in effect until Saturday at 4 a.m. does include some of our Louisiana parishes as well, but I do expect all of those to expire as we get into those, probably right into our Saturday morning, about 12 or 1 a.m. But out here in southern Mississippi, the ingredients are still in place for some strong storms to still take place, and potentially some tornadoes as well. And that's why that watch is in place. But you notice where it extends to, where you see Attala, Winston, Noxubee, and Holmes County. Yeah, about a county beneath that is where that tornado watch begins. And even then, I'm not overly concerned with what we're seeing right now on our Mama Justice Doppler radar. There was a little bit of some interesting development out there towards Monroe, Louisiana, working its way across the river. But since then, again, it's entering an environment that's not as favorable. And that's why we're not overly high on our severe weather potential overnight. It's there, but it's very, very minimal. So as we look at rainfall totals, this is one where I feel like we've kind of breezed over the potential for flash flooding, but look down south at just how much rainfall we've been receiving down there. I mean, 6.5 inches. We're well over that, the highest part of our legend. And as we work our way up north, you can see that there are still some totals up there that are up to about 2 inches or so. And even around Canton, same thing, just over 2 inches. So as we look up there towards North Mississippi, some potential for flash flooding is there as additional showers move in overnight. But even then, I don't think we get over that flooding risk or flooding concern. So I think that we do stay below that flash flooding potential. And that's why it is, again, on the lower part of our scale. And we'll look at that in just a moment. Our Mama Justice Doppler radar, as we look at that right now in North Mississippi, just going to be that rainfall working its way across North Mississippi. But none of this is a concern here in the Room to Room Weather Center. I do believe that we do stay below severe limits overnight. And all of this rainfall that's happening is honestly a good thing, because that's helping prevent how much of that energy gets into one of these storms. And if there's multiple storms trying to form, they're all eating at that same amount of energy. So let's bring it back down here on our surface analysis. And you can see that warm sector is trying to lift a little bit more. I'm going to bring it in a little bit closer. You can see how it's extending just north of Jackson right now. I think the positioning may be a little bit off. I do expect that to be more up there towards Highway 82, or should I say north of Highway 82. Nonetheless, with how much rainfall we're getting, I do think that a large portion of this remains below severe limits. Some of these showers and storms that we're getting down along the coastal regions, and one that stands out, if I jump to the latest scan, one that stands out is this one right there, just south of Hattiesburg. But this area, all down there where that tornado watch is in effect, look at how they're all individual storms that are able to eat at the energy that's down there and not have to share it with others. I mean, you compare that to what we're getting up here in North Mississippi. I mean, we're talking about widespread rainfall over a very large radius. So this is going to be the limiting factor for us, is just how much action that we're seeing. And a large portion of this is not anything that's going to be in a primed environment. I mean, if we look at dew points in just a moment, we're in the upper 50s in the northwest part of Mississippi. So that's definitely a limiting factor and definitely a plus as we get into those overnight hours. So as we take Futurecast into those overnight hours, this is not an impossibility as this warm sector lifts north that we get a few rumbles of thunder with some of these cells down on the southeast corner of our viewing area. That's going to include Golden Triangle and for portions south. So that's 3 a.m. on our Saturday. and even into those overnight hours. 6 a.m., still getting a few rumbles of thunder right around that same area we just mentioned. But we have this front that's already starting to develop and move its way east, and that's going to take a large portion of this energy east with it as well. So by 6 a.m. Saturday, still getting a few rumbles of thunder, but watch how this changes into those early hours of our Saturday. I mean, we're talking about thunderstorms transitioning to moderate rainfall, and even then, just sporadic development, not going to be nearly as widespread. And getting into those afternoon hours, those chances dissipate even more, and we're in for a much calmer pattern as we wrap up that Saturday forecast and into the rest of your weekend, expecting a great forecast as well. So significant chances for the morning, dissipating out quickly and leaving us with that calmer pattern as we wrap up our Saturday. So any plans you may have, if they're later in the day, I think they're going to be good to go, despite how rainy things are right now and how rainy things will be in the morning. Don't let that fool you. It is going to be a good forecast at some point on our Saturday. All right, coming up here in the next 60, we're going to be breaking this down in more detail and talking about that potential timing, talking about those storm ingredients, talking about the energy that's in place and how that's a limiting factor for us, but an enhancing factor for other locations. We'll have all of that coming up here on Mississippi Live Weather at 10, live from the Room to Room Weather Center in the next 60.
When you've been injured, don't settle for a lawyer who doesn't even know where you live. Call Langston and Lott. Local lawyers, personal service, real results.
With the old and in with the new. It's time to save big at Room to Room's New Year's sale. Store-wide markdowns 50 to 70% off, no tax, 48-month special financing. It's a new year at Room to Room Furniture in Tupelo. There's no place like home.
Right now, from the Room to Room Weather Center, here's meteorologist Gabe Maynor.
So where do our confidence levels sit as we head into the 10 o'clock hour and overnight into our Saturday? Well, right now, a lot of them continue to diminish as we head into those overnight hours. A low confidence for tornado potential, strong wind potential, hail potential, and even flash flooding potential. Down south, they have gotten a downpour with some heavy showers and storms developing. Now, don't get me wrong, we're going to get more rainfall as we head overnight, but that heavy rainfall that could produce some brief flash flooding, I think that's something that was really going to be happening earlier on today, and that threat has since carried on towards our south and east. So I think where we sit right now, we're very optimistic into those overnight hours, and we're hopeful that with the amount of rainfall that we're seeing, it's going to be a limiting factor and prevent us from seeing any strong development overnight. So again, low confidence on all of these things. Not saying it's an impossibility, but I would say right now, it's more of a non-zero chance than a chance as we get into our Saturday morning. So let's go ahead and take a look at those alerts across the area. And the tornado watch is one that stands out. Earlier on tonight, whenever this was first issued, we went live and folks were asking, are we going to get a tornado watch further north? No, we are not, and I'll reiterate that one more time. And where I think that the potential could go is for areas out here into Montgomery and off there towards maybe even Mobile, maybe as far north as Birmingham, but that's not North Mississippi. I do think that North Mississippi has a big time limiting factor with the amount of rainfall that we're seeing. And so if we were to get anything, I would say that we get an additional development out here into Alabama more than north into North Mississippi. So that watch will carry over into 4 a.m. on our Saturday morning. And then beyond that, I think that threat really diminishes into our Saturday. So where we sit right now, as you can see on our Mama Justice Doppler radar, it continues to be a stormy night down south with that tornado watch still in effect. One storm in particular that we were paying attention to was this one out here towards the northeast part of Louisiana. If I put this on a loop, actually, let me go ahead and move to our local radar site right here. So as I put this on a loop and bring it back into that storm, you'll see what I'm talking about with that loop showing a little bit more impressive returns during the last hour or so with those higher storm tops. And of course, that's why the severe thunderstorm warning was issued. And watching this cross the river did have some broad rotation with it. But watch as it entered into North Mississippi, or should I say Central Mississippi. Just completely dies out. Not completely, but I mean, much more than what it was before. And that's why I'm not overly concerned about this system. Once again, I mean, bringing it back here to the overall view in southern Mississippi, I would say that's the highest potential storm, but it's entering an area that's not nearly as primed as what they're seeing out in Louisiana. So again, limiting factor, and that's a very good thing for us here in North Mississippi. As we take a look up north, lots of rainfall. As someone said in the chat, I lost it in the chat just a moment ago. Look at all that rain. In the best way possible, we're saying that tonight, because not only is it giving us much needed rainfall, it's also limiting that severe weather potential once again. So I don't think we go over that cusp, and I do think that we remain below severe limits overnight just because of how much rainfall that is. I mean, look at all that rain, literally well put as we get into our 10 o'clock hour. Severe weather threat, something that we have here on Mississippi Live Weather, kind of factoring in the heavy rainfall, the rotating storms, but also that hail threat. Not getting any of that here in North Mississippi. This is looking out of our Monroe County radar site, and you're getting a lot of green returns. What those greens are is primarily just heavy rainfall. As I populate in a few of these, you can see how heavy that rainfall is, only about 3/4 of an inch an hour. Even that's not overly concerning. And this will continue to work its way east, so it's not going to remain right overhead. So don't worry, folks in Booneville, folks in Tupelo, folks down there in Eupora, close to Choctaw and Webster County. I think that we're going to be seeing the last of these showers, or at least a break in these showers as we get into those overnight hours. And then, into tomorrow, things will definitely look a lot better. Down south, of course, you do notice a few things. Some of those storms on the stronger side down there around Forest. You're getting some of those blues popping up, meaning that it has a higher storm top, a potential for a hail core as well, but that hail only about a ½ inch in size, remaining below severe limits. And of course, that storm that we were tracking just a moment ago, I'm going to put it on a loop one more time, but I'm going to show you what it has right now. Still some of those blues popping up, potential for some small hail, but hail isn't really the concern with these systems. It's going to be the rotation. And if we put this on that loop once again, you can see how that did have one of our shear markers, one of our rotation markers earlier on that circle as it moved up there towards the Tallulah area and then on across the Mississippi River. That was where it was more concerning. But we said one thing whenever it was about that tornado potential, and that said it would be brief. So you can see how brief we're talking about. So if this were to produce, similar to the storms we saw this morning, it's not going to last long, and I do think that we remain below severe limits, and if anything were to become severe, it's going to be very quick. But even then, we expect it to be further towards the south. Storm tops right now, this is honestly a way that I love to show the potential of strong storms or severe storms because it does need some lift in order for strong storms to take place. And as of right now, I see that storm that we just tracked a moment ago in Louisiana. I do see the one near Chula, Holmes County, showcasing a little bit more of that. But latest scan just came in. Look at the change. Now we're only talking 30,000 feet compared to potential 40,000 feet earlier on. Now that storm in northeast Louisiana continues to catch my eye just because it is at 40,000 feet, but it's again entering an area that's not nearly as primed. And real quick, I actually want to go over to our analysis mode here and go on to the dew points and showcase that. So don't get me wrong, we do still have a little bit of that unstable air overhead. If I populate in a few of these dew points, you can see Tupelo coming in 64 degrees, Grenada, same thing, Columbus right around 64 as well. Hey, 64, just the magic number. Macon, Kosciuszko, 65, Hollandale, Yazoo City, 64 and 66 respectively. So what this tells me is it has diminished a little bit. Earlier on tonight, we were talking 65 to 67 degrees for those dew points. And so that's already coming down. That energy is leaving just a bit. And so it's not as primed of an area for that severe weather to take place. And of course, if we look at our Monroe County site, you can see that there's not anything overly impressive about these showers. The highest storm tops that we're seeing are about 30,000 feet. And even then, we need that to be a little bit higher before these storms really start catching our attention. Our hail threat as well, as Matt was mentioning earlier on with our True Shield roofing graphic. It's a fortunate thing we're not getting hail, but if hail were to happen overnight, we do have that partnership with them to where, there will be that gift card giveaway as well. So if any hail does happen or any storm damage at all does happen, go ahead and send that to us on Mississippi Live Weather, and we will forward that information to the National Weather Service and potentially make you some money in the process if that hailstone is the biggest in North Mississippi. But like I said, not expecting any hail overnight, so this is not the event that really this giveaway is going to be happening. So our day planner tonight shows that rainfall sticking around, but that's really it. Rainfall and thunderstorms, and that'll continue into those overnight hours. Midnight, 61 degrees, 80% coverage, 60% coverage during that morning commute, 6 a.m. and 58 degrees. So one note, I hope you're not getting out at 6 a.m. on a Saturday. I hope you do have some time to sleep in, but that's definitely something that we're paying attention to in that extended forecast. I'm going to have to restart this here real quick. Apologize for that. But what we're going to be talking about first is storm rotation. So as I drag it out here and get a better positioning, you can see that some of these storms, they do try to get deep enough. But one thing that I will say with where we sit right now, this on Futurecast is not lining up with where radar currently stands. So a lot of these helicity tracks or these rotation tracks, not exactly going to verify based off of what radar is giving us at this moment. So it tries, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's lining up very well. So as you can see, it does, there's a limited rotation with a lot of these, but I think that a lot of these remain more elevated and don't reach all the way to the surface. But let's compare that to what we're getting further down south. And as you can see, those brighter marks, and one near Tallulah definitely stands out once again. That's one of those storms that we've been tracking just a moment ago. That has some of those brighter returns. So there is rotation being detected. And as this works its way into the rest of our area, we're talking 4 or 5 a.m. This is why that 4 a.m. watch is in place. Look at these brighter returns down around Natchez, Mississippi, and Oakdale, Louisiana. Yeah, that's what needs to stand out. That's something that would catch our eye and definitely make us more concerned. Whenever you're getting these darker returns, it shows me that rotation is not going to be a factor, and I think that we do stay away from any rotating storms overnight, and that tornado potential, like I said, basically as low as it can get without being a complete zero. So as we get into those overnight hours, again, still showing some tornado potential down south, so wouldn't be surprised at all if they extend that watch a little bit more, even into Alabama. But either way, I don't see anything that's overly concerning for us here in North Mississippi. So folks asking in the chat, can I go to sleep tonight? Yes, you can go to sleep tonight. All right, let's track Futurecast out into our overnight hours and the start of our Saturday. As you can see right here, that warm sector continuing to lift north and give us the potential of a few rumbles of thunder and definitely some heavy rainfall. But as you can see right here, especially down south, look at the amount of energy that's in place for southern Mississippi. Compare the two. Night and day difference from North Mississippi to South Mississippi. So there's a watch in place down here. There's hardly any concern for us here in North Mississippi just because of the lack of energy. Like I said, energy definitely remaining further south in southern Mississippi. As we get into the rest of our Futurecasts, 4 a.m. still seeing a primed area down south. Wouldn't be surprised at all if we do get a few more severe thunderstorm warnings just to accommodate some of these storms that are entering that primed atmosphere. But I don't think any of those warnings get issued in North Mississippi. I do think that ours is going to remain showers and thunderstorms. Low temperatures for your Saturday, still going to be a mild start to the day. I'm potentially setting some new record high minimums as we've been talking about all week long. 56 degrees in Tupelo, 59 Grenada, 53 Tunica, 60 still showing up in Belzona, Kosciuszko, and Louisville. Let's keep that Futurecast moving, and this still has the energy on top of it, but not that it even matters to our forecast. I really just wanted to show it because for folks in southern Mississippi or even into Alabama, I know I have some folks over there in Birmingham. They're going to be watching. My mom called me earlier on and she said, Gabe, what is the potential for Birmingham? I almost told her that it's better than us here in North Mississippi to see some severe weather just because of that energy reaching as far north up there into the central Alabama area. That, of course, building some of those thunderstorms. So not going to be surprised at all if we get a few more warnings right along that line into Montgomery, Andalusia, and up there towards Gadsden and Oxford, Alabama. But as we look in North Mississippi, this is your 9 a.m. forecast, and I'm going to bring it back in here to our area to showcase that a little bit more. Scattered showers, not thunderstorms, not even strong thunderstorms. So I think that we are definitely on the downtrend from there on out, and there we'll sit into our Saturday with a much calmer pattern. A few showers, again, not impossible, but not going to be nearly as widespread as what we've had for our Friday. So as we keep that moving into our Saturday afternoon, look at the change. Look at what we can enjoy moving past this forecast. There's the rainfall. There's our headache of our Friday forecast that it's been so far. And there's the bright side, the light at the end of the tunnel that we get to enjoy by the time we get into the latter part of our Saturday. So watching college basketball, because for all of us here in North Mississippi now, it's basketball season and we get to enjoy that. Should be some great games tomorrow. I think State's taking on Kentucky in Lexington Saturday night. So not only do you have a good forecast, you also have a great game tomorrow night that all State fans get to enjoy because hey, we've been on a hot streak lately. I'm not going to brag, but I'm definitely excited about Josh Hubbard's season in Starkville. High temperatures, 58 degrees in Senatobia, 61 New Albany and Booneville, 64 Eupora, Houston, and Amory, and 65 still showing up Starkville, Louisville, and for portions out there in northwest Alabama, Aliceville, 67 degrees. That's a toasty forecast for sure, nonetheless. But there is good that is coming, and you got to stay with me on that, and trust me, because it will be here. You just got to get through this forecast, I promise. So as we get into our Futurecast on our Saturday night, I'll be walking through a great forecast with you guys and showing that temperature change as we get into the latter part of our weekend. So Sunday morning, those clear skies that move overhead, that's going to allow that heating that's been here all week long to escape the area, and their cooler temperatures will be for the start of our Sunday. As we keep that moving into our Sunday afternoon, you can see that those clear skies do remain in place. So if you're like me and wanting to get outside to enjoy this forecast, definitely the day to plan it, because it's going to be that good of a forecast with the clear skies, the dry air, the cooler temperatures. Get the sweatshirts out. You don't have to wear the short sleeves to church on Sunday. I think that we will need at least a couple of layers as we get out the door. Sunday evening, sticking with those calmer conditions. But take a look at these low temperatures Sunday. I mean, we're talking about a night and day difference, a forecast that has been forever since we've seen, and it's right around our normal. How long has it been since we've been able to say that? 36 degrees in Tupelo, same thing Vernon, 35 Hamilton, Red Bay, and Boonville, 36 in Greenwood, 37 Belzona and Cleveland, and 38 showing up in Greenville. So as we take a look, I just showed this to you guys, so I'm going to jump ahead to the next graphic. You can see that it is going to be a cold forecast even by the afternoon. 47 degrees in New Albany, 45 in Senatobia, 49 Greenwood, Grenada, Eupora, and Starkville. And I do see a few 50s showing up in Aliceville and Kosciuszko. But guys, the fact we're talking about high temperatures barely reaching the 50s, guys, our low temperatures tomorrow are in the 50s. So that's what I'm talking about. A big shift is coming, and it is going to be definitely a forecast that we've long been awaiting on here in North Mississippi. But before we get there, where things sit right now, I don't want to breeze past the fact that there are still storms in the area overnight. That severe weather threat still encompasses a large portion of southern Mississippi and Louisiana as those storms work their way on through. Of course, with the reports that we have so far, no shock at all of why those reports are there, just because that's where that primed area is. So it lines up well with that severe weather risk, and we expect that to carry over into those overnight hours as well. Damaging wind, primary concern, but again, that tornado cannot be ruled out as we get overnight due to those isolated cells and that high amount of energy that remains in place. As we get into our large hail risk, that still is out west, but again, potential for maybe a few hailstones down south, but not in North Mississippi. That's one thing that we're confident about and definitely excited about overnight. As we get into our Saturday severe weather risk, you can see level 2 threat. Like I mentioned, wouldn't be surprised if they carried over a watch there into Montgomery and southern parts of Birmingham, but it's continuing to be that stormy forecast that we've gotten today, carrying over into their forecast for tomorrow. Damaging wind, primary concern, a few tornadoes, not going to be ruled out, but again, those are going to be brief. So the Maynard family watching from Birmingham, hope you guys have those ways of receiving alerts. And of course, the Mississippi Live weather app, even though you're in Alabama, you get those alerts, but you already know that. You tell me all the time. So just continue to stay safe. And if you know anyone in Alabama, let them know their day is tomorrow and they need to be weather aware throughout their Saturday. Severe weather threats, reiterating this for tonight. Low confidence on all fronts as we head into those overnight hours. So I think that we can confidently say, go to bed, enjoy your night. Of course, have those alerts on, or at least leave your ringer on in case someone needs to call you and let you know there's anything strong headed your way, but we don't feel like that'll be here in North Mississippi. We feel like that threat is going to be further south into southern Mississippi. So your 7-day forecast, rain chances for the start of your Saturday, clearing on out by the latter half of the day, and Sunday, been saying it all night, putting the sun in Sunday, because it's been forever since it's been this sunny of a forecast, so I'm excited about it. I hope you guys are at home too. 35 for the start of the day, 46 by the afternoon, 25 degrees heading into your Monday morning. So if you missed the cold, if you missed winter, yeah, we've been spoiled with all this warm weather. We got to go back to reality at some point, and that reality sticks around into our Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. All week long, we're going to be feeling much colder, so enjoy the last day of warm air for our Saturday, because beyond that, things start to change. But at least it will be a mostly dry forecast. Of course, one of the things we're excited about, I see some folks in the chat saying that they like the warm weather, Pat. I know, I like the warm weather for a brief moment. I don't want it to be like that forever. I hope you guys do have a good night. I see a lot of folks saying that they get to go to sleep. Nikki wanting a little snow. Well, I mean, it's winter. It's Mississippi. You just need the ingredients to line up right. But we'll, of course, keep an eye on that behind the scenes. I see there are a few folks in the chat that are watching from Alabama. So, yeah, I have that Mississippi Live weather app handy. My eye is watering. That's what you get for staying up at 5 till 5:30 last night watching storms. But, yeah, if I'm crying, don't worry, I'm not crying about the forecast. My eyes are just watering. But yes, if you have the Mississippi Live weather app, keeps you updated anywhere you are. Just go ahead and have those alerts on and let it have your current location as well, and you'll be able to track that wherever you're at, whether you're in Mississippi or anywhere across the country. Football game tonight. Yeah, if anyone wanted to know, Indiana, national championship bound. Fernando Mendoza, he's legit. Kurt Signetti, he's legit. should be a good matchup, and I know all the Rebel fans are definitely saying go Hoosiers heading into this matchup. Bama fans, I don't know. We have a few Bama fans in chat. What are you guys saying? Because I know you're bitter with Indiana, but do you like Miami? I don't feel like you do, so I don't know who you're rooting for. Are you guys even want to watch it? Yeah. Oh man, Indiana, they won handedly. All right, I see that you guys haven't been able to watch that, so hopefully that's been a nice little break from watching all of this weather coverage. But of course, we want to keep you guys safe, and I hope that you guys do continue to enjoy your night. Should be a rainy one. A few rumbles of thunder, not impossible, but I think we remain below severe limits, and we feel good about that and definitely happy about that. We've been optimistic all day long, and so far that optimism has reigned true, and we'll carry that into our Saturday as well. Is Tupelo good to go to sleep? Yes. I see that a few people asking throughout the area. So I will say this. I'm going to pull up the tornado watch that currently is in place. And based off of your location, if you are in this tornado watch, I would say then yes, you need to be staying up just in case a tornado were to be produced. Or if you have weather call, you can go to sleep and it'll alert you for you. But if you are north of there, if you live in our viewing area, whether that's Holmes County, Attala County, Winston County, Noxubee County, or anywhere north of there, even north of Sunflower County, I think that we're all looking good. Washington County, whatever, I think we're looking good. And I hope that you guys do get some sleep tonight, because we feel a lot better heading into tonight than, of course, last night. And that confidence has continued to increase. Oklahoma, they're good. Water Valley, you guys are good. I don't care who wins, roll tide. There you go. That's the mindset to have. But you guys are still going to watch it, right? And let me know here in a second. But yeah, so if you live anywhere north of those areas, I think that we're looking in good shape. So just continue to keep the Mississippi Live weather app handy. We'll keep eyes on it behind the scenes if need be, but I'm keeping eyes on it with basically one eye open at this point, because I don't feel like anything is going to be happening with this setup, at least not here in North Mississippi. Down south, maybe a little bit of a different story. One of the things that we showed you guys earlier was some of the damage that took place. I'll re-show that for the 10 o'clock hour, because I know some folks down south might be tuning in, maybe missed the 5 and 6 o'clock broadcast. I know it's a little bit later, but I feel like it's worthwhile. So let's go ahead and take a look. So this is a look from Jason Campbell in Laurel, Mississippi. This is a look at, you can see it at the top of your screen, tornado moving through Laurel earlier on today. That was right across the John Deere parking lot, knocking down a sign in the process in the parking lot. And you can see off there in the distance some debris that's starting to be lofted into the air. It's parts of some roof, also parts of some tree limbs as well. So this was a damaging storm for sure, but I think that the tornado remained on the lower end of the scale. And here's a better look at it right here. Just watch in the middle of your screen. You can see all that debris being lofted. Of course, that funnel slightly there on the ground. You can get a good look at it, and those winds just rotating right over there at the surface. This was this morning around 8:40, and that debris, of course, being lofted as well. Later on, I think that it'll show you some looks at the damage that took place. But you can see off there in the tree line, go ahead and look at this. Just that debris being lofted straight into the air, right over the trees as well. And of course, that damage primarily going to be the roof damage that they had. And that roof damage was stretched all the way across the yard right there. And it was close to the John Deere dealership. And of course, some of those surrounding businesses being affected as well. They weren't the only ones. This was also This was at Popwell's Family Restaurant down there in Marion County, some tornado damage that took place. And not only is it Popwell's, it's also the neighboring residents as well. As you can see some of the damage that took place. Now, the amazing thing with this story, Popwell's was open tonight at 4 o'clock. This damage took place earlier on this morning, so they were okay. Not only were they okay, they were open tonight. So definitely grateful that that they were all okay, and glad that we're able to all stay in one piece here in North Mississippi. Damage happening, but at least we as people are still in one piece. And whenever we head into these severe weather events, that's what we want at the end of the day, is that everyone comes out of it okay, that there are no deaths or injuries that occur. And we're grateful to say that we're continuing to remain 100% that everyone is okay, everyone is alive, and that's what matters. Damage, that can be fixed, but lives, they can't be replaced. And we hear that time and time again. So stay safe tonight. We're going to keep you guys updated as needed as we head through the night. And of course, as needed, have that Mississippi Live weather app handy. It'll keep you updated. It'll also keep it up with the latest broadcast. As we head into our Saturday, we will cut in as needed, but we do expect that we'll be good to go all the way through that 6 o'clock hour. That's our next show on our Saturday, abbreviated schedule on Saturday. So 6 and 10, we'll be live here on Mississippi Live Weather, so have that app handy. And of course, we'll keep you updated as needed if we need to cut in before then on the app as well. Thank you guys so much for all your support. Stay safe tonight and have a wonderful weekend ahead.